For more on this, let's bring in Angelique Coetze. She's an advisor to the Solidarity Doctors Network Board and the former chairperson of the South African Medical Association. She joins me now live from South Africa. Thanks very much for joining us here on TRT World. Now, Kampala is a city of 1.6 million people. Already in the past 2 days, 14 cases of Ebola have been reported there. How alarming is this?
This is very alarming. Good afternoon. Extremely alarming because Ebola is a fast-spreading viral infection. The problem is we are sitting with the Sudan strain. There are no vaccines. The only vaccines is still in phase 2 trials. Once if you have a viral infection like Ebola in a big city, it becomes a huge concern. I have noticed that the government has put on, prohibition or a directive for people not to move out of the provinces Uganda in Cassandra since the 16th of this month for 21 days. Hopefully that will help, although, it's an open book to see whether it will curb the spreading to other provinces. But if more concern is it can spread outside the borders into other countries, and that might be a bigger problem because some of the countries not geared for Ebola. As I've said, you now need to, which the government is trying to do, to try to address the problem by informing the public what is happening, which is correct, but I'm not sure whether the public always understand what the whole thing about Ebola is, how crucial it is to go and test. And then how do you know if you have just been in contact with someone casually and don't know them, have not seen them again after that you were actually in contact with Ebola? This is a problem. It's a huge problem.
Right. And Angelique, back in 2014, Ebola made global headlines. In fact, in countries such as the United States, what is Ebola was the most searched question on the internet. So it's been, about roughly 7 years now, and we still do not have a vaccine for this disease. We were able to develop a vaccine for COVID within 2 years, but why can't we do the same for Ebola?
Yeah, there might be a lot of reasons for that, but remember Ebola was more a disease affecting Africa than the rest of the world. And maybe what we have seen before, if it's not a huge problem to the rest of the world, everyone take notice, there will be NGOs going, there will be people helping and assisting those countries. But once if it becomes a bigger problem, and with first world countries might get infections like Ebola, I think that's when you will start seeing more vaccines or trials for vaccines coming out than we have seen up until now. And remember, the Sudan strain was not the biggest problem in the past. It was not one of the fast-spreading ones. It was more the Zaire variant. And for that, we do have vaccines on the market. So I think going forward, it's important to get vaccines for all the different strains of Ebola, especially if what we are seeing now happening in Kampala, and it can affect the rest of the world. There's no getting away from that.
Indeed. Angelique Coetze, thanks very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.